Hello and welcome to In the Spotlight with Quocirca, the definitive podcast on digital disruption in the print industry. I'm Louella Fernandes, CEO of Quocirca, and today I'm joined by Munu Gandhi, President of Xerox IT Solutions. For decades, Xerox has defined the office, and now the company is rapidly redefining itself as a provider of comprehensive IT services, moving beyond print into areas such as managed cybersecurity, cloud, network infrastructure management, and artificial intelligence. So I'm really looking forward to this conversation with Munu, who will be guiding us through the massive strategic shift that Xerox is undertaking and discuss the value Xerox is creating for their clients. So welcome, Munu, to the show. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Louella, thank you for having me and giving me the opportunity to share a bit about the Xerox IT Solutions story.
So before we get into the conversation, Munu, could you tell us a bit about your career history and your role at Xerox IT Solutions?
I've been in the industry for about 30 years, spent all of it within technology infrastructure solutions. Started off as a hands-on network and systems and servers engineer. Spent half my career actually on the client side with companies like General Electric, McDonald's, and Aon. Leading global infrastructure, security, and app dev organizations. The other half on the service provider side with Accenture, ACS, and then I had the privilege of leading IT Savvy prior to the acquisition by Xerox. And just a little bit about the Xerox acquisition. So, and it's actually a great time. We just celebrated our 1-year anniversary on November 20th. And so it's been a profound year. Xerox IT Solutions was born out of the acquisition of IT Savvy. And I'll share more about kind of who we are, what we do, but at a very high level, as a part of the acquisition, IT Savvy joined Xerox, and we formed the platform and the bedrock for what ultimately is now Xerox IT Solutions. We've spent the past year bringing on and integrating all of the legacy IT services businesses that Xerox had acquired prior to the IT Savvy acquisition. And now we go to market as Xerox IT Solutions.
No, it's great. I really appreciate, as I say, you joining me today because we had a really detailed conversation back in Las Vegas, I think, in March of this year when you talked about some of the history behind the acquisition. And so I think it'd be really great to understand a bit more about how the business has progressed since the acquisition. And I know Xerox just announced its Q3 results. So if you could give us some insight into that as well.
Xerox IT Solutions was born out of the acquisition of IT Savvy and then the integration of all of the legacy Xerox IT services businesses that Xerox had acquired prior to IT Savvy. A few things that we've done in the first year of our existence. Coming together, we've built one go-to-market capability. And so that is, how do we think about IT infrastructure solutions? What are the solution pillars that we are going to market with, which are cloud and hosting, network and security, collaboration, and then the hybrid workforce / anywhere learning. And underneath there, we have 3 underlying service portfolios that deliver against those 4 solution pillars. We have device lifecycle, we have deployment services, and then managed services. And happy to share more about that as we continue our conversation. So one go-to-market, one approach to how we support, serve, and enable our clients' business outcomes. We have brought together one service delivery organization on a global basis. And we have one platform. So one CRM solution, one order-to-cash solution, and one ERP. And we spent the past year migrating all of the US businesses over to that one platform. As we get into early 2026, we'll migrate Canada. And then later in the year, we'll migrate the United Kingdom. And once we do that, we will truly be on one standardized set of platforms that allow us to manage and support and serve our clients no matter where they're located. And I think last but definitely not least, and probably most important, is the fact that we are now Xerox IT Solutions. As you can imagine, when you acquire a number of businesses, there's always the challenge of which name should we use, how should we use it, right? What are the legal entities? And those are challenges that we faced as well. And we decided very early on that we were going to bring all of those identities together under one name. And the reason for that is, Xerox, as we all know, has a powerful name across the globe. And as we think about reinvention and who we want to be as we continue to evolve, and we think about our mix shift and gain share strategy, the IT Solutions business is a fully separate entity that goes to market and supports and serves our clients. And we wanted our clients to know that and understand that and feel really good about why they partner with us.
Okay, no, that's really helpful to have that context. And, I can imagine it's quite a complex organization to bring together, but it makes sense, as you say, the Xerox brand is so strong and it's got that very strong legacy brand that you're now sort of leveraging to move into this IT services space. And I think Xerox had different approaches in IT services, but now it sounds like you've got a very holistic single platform that you can go to market with now, which you just mentioned there. In terms of some of the changes you've achieved so far, so you mentioned some of the changes you've made in terms of the platform, but is there anything particular around AI, for example, in terms of how you're leveraging AI within your offerings and also the sales capabilities that you may have changed over the past year?
Yeah. So on the AI front, at IT Savvy, we had acquired an AI ops enabled platform by the name of iKnock. And as we've come together as Xerox IT Solutions, we brought iKnock under the portfolio for all of our service delivery capabilities. As a part of that, iKnock had historically supported and served what I'd call the commercial to large enterprise clients. Leveraging their platform, leveraging their strategy, we are now in the process of building a similar AI-enabled operations platform that'll serve our SMB marketplace. So it's taking the best of what iKnock did, bringing all that together into a simplified platform that can support and serve the SMB marketplace. And then for the rest of AI, as we think about it, right, there's a number of things that we've done on the back office side of it to help accelerate how we do things on the finance side, how we do things on inventory management, and how do we deliver our service portfolio. So we had started that kind of prior to the acquisition, and we've continued going down that path. And as Louella, you mentioned very, very rightly, Xerox as a whole is undergoing a significant AI kind of transformation, as is most likely every other company. But we sit as a part of that overall portfolio to make sure that all of the things that we're doing can be leveraged and supported by Xerox and then vice versa. Now on the sales side, right, the one go-to-market, it's one of those things that kind of very easy to say, but much more difficult to do. We have one chief revenue officer who's united all of our sales capabilities across the globe. So we have a standard set of expectations around how we do the simple things, the things that matter every single day. Pipeline management, pipeline hygiene. How do we do demand generation? How do we drive the right solutions that our clients are going to need? And then how do we ensure that we're programmatically enabling that for our sales force and our sales engineers to be able to go have the right client conversations, right? And so as we think about our sales engine, our go-to-market, that is something we're quite proud of. And, what we've seen in the results, and we hope to continue that, is that even when we've had to go through a massive kind of integration, coming together as one, bringing together a number of different, corporate and brand identities, we've been able to do all of that while also growing our revenue, our midline, and our bottom line all throughout the year. And we're very proud of that. And the team has done just a phenomenal job to enable that.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting, isn't it? Because I think that for some time, many OEMs or print manufacturers have dabbled in IT services, some with more success than others. And I know we'll come to later in this conversation some of those kind of cross-selling opportunities between the existing IT solutions customers and the MPS customers, because I'm really interested to dive into that into a bit more detail. But I think Xerox, has been very ambitious with this integration, and it sounds like it's already, reaping rewards. In terms of the IT services portfolio, so Quocirca does quite a bit of research around the priorities around technology investments and where those are really ranking. Generally it tends to be cybersecurity, AI, and cloud. And I'm really interested to understand where you're seeing the most demand or growth in your IT services portfolio.
So, Louella, we mentioned this during our Q3 earnings call. In the third quarter, we saw significant investments from our clients in infrastructure and networking, in advanced solutions, and in the kind of the PC endpoint space. And so we continue to see those as tailwinds, right? As we think about the AI investments, there's a number of ways of thinking about that. There is just the core infrastructure, server, storage, networking, which again, we saw significant momentum in the third quarter. There's also the, what should I be doing? How should I be doing it? Everyone knows they have to be AI enabled, but it's a very difficult thing to understand. What's my first step? What's my second step? And one of the things that we talk to about in our client conversations is one of the most important things is knowing where your data is, how clean it is, how can you access it, how can you manage it, how can you utilize it to get the insights, right, that AI can provide. And so that's something that we've been spending time with our clients as they navigate their journey.
I guess with AI, it's very reliant on that data quality, isn't it? And for many organizations, getting AI ready means being data ready. So that definitely makes sense and aligns with what we're seeing in the market. And, I think that leads quite nicely into just generally what you think are the key predictions or trends for 2026, because clearly AI is, not going anywhere, and there's going to be more demand for AI services, but also there's still concerns around AI, around security. So really striking that balance, I guess with productivity and security. So yeah, interested in terms of anything you think will be really shaping the technology landscape in 2026.
So AI is creating a major tailwind across a whole number of areas, right? And it doesn't really matter within our 4 solution pillars. All 4 are getting the benefit of this AI kind of interest, the AI spend. And so we expect there to be kind of a broad tailwind across the industry. We do continue to think that infrastructure and networking will see significant investments as clients upgrade their legacy environments to support the needs of the future. We absolutely expect security to continue to have massive investments. The cybersecurity threat landscape is changing faster and faster. The bad guys are getting smarter and smarter. They're leveraging the AI set of capabilities that are out there to figure out how to get in and exploit client weaknesses. And so we see that as a continual place. And then just from a productivity perspective, clients need their employees, to be able to be more productive and to be able to utilize these solutions more effectively. So we expect kind of across the board that we will see investments being made by our clients.
In terms of the cloud and sovereign cloud and AI, do you think that's going to have a big impact next year? And some companies may be going back on premise because of security, or just curious as to what you're seeing in terms of your clients.
Yeah, so I would say 2 things. One, on the repatriation of workloads, we are absolutely seeing more clients having those conversations and starting to make those investments to pull back. There's a few reasons for that. One, I would say, when COVID hit and people needed to rush quickly to go get access to resources, the public cloud was a great place to go. Unfortunately, those costs in the public cloud can get to be quite expensive. And so we've started to see clients think about, well, if I can repatriate those workloads back, I can save my run rate costs. And to your point around, data consolidation, data centralization, data security, and to be able to bring all that under one wrapper, that is a second component that is helping to drive, the repatriation of workloads. And we do think that is kind of in the early innings of a process that's going to be going for some time now. The second thing you brought up was data sovereignty, which is actually super interesting. We have seen probably for about a generation, more and more countries becoming more and more, I'll call nationalistic around data, where data sits, who has access to data, how long they have access to data, who controls and has rights to that data. And so we had seen this trend for quite some time. I think with the current geopolitical situation where it's at, the desire to have AI capabilities, understanding that that any country's ability to leverage AI as a competitive kind of component in how they fare against other countries, that is going to create significantly more data sovereignty kind of components. And so the sovereign AI is a really big deal. And there will be downstream impacts of that in terms of how you design solutions and infrastructure to support AI and the applications that sit on top of it. And so you will see that pendulum continue to swing, I think, pretty heavily. And that's something that we're thinking about in terms of how do we then help our clients navigate that, think about it, and deliver the solutions that they need.
Yes, I think it's 2026 will be a really interesting year for all of these areas. Like you say, AI is having an impact on productivity, but also being harnessed by cyber attackers, and cloud sovereignty is going to have an impact as well in terms of whether organizations do repatriate those workloads. So thank you for sharing that. I wanted to sort of switch back to Xerox's approaches around managed print services, because clearly Xerox has got these two approaches now in the market. And I'm curious as to understand how Xerox is positioning its IT solutions offering to its existing MPS customers. And are you finding that there is that kind of cross synergies across both areas? And are there particular segments where you're seeing more success in?
Yeah, so this is something that I'm super proud of. First year, the fact that we had as much cross-sell opportunity and that we closed as much cross-sell business as we did, I was very pleasantly surprised. This was always something that was in our deal thesis, and it was something that we were extremely excited about as we came together. We have seen significant kind of engagement from our print sellers, from our clients, even our Xerox print channel ecosystem. Number of individuals want to be a part of this story. They want to leverage the solutions that we have. And so I would say we've made progress in all segments, whether it's kind of the enterprise, the commercial, or the SMB. And one thing that we found is the sales cycle is about the same in all three of those segments, right? So in the SMB space, we can very quickly engage, quickly create value, and quickly close a deal. In the commercial space, it is actually pretty quick, a little bit longer than the SMB sales cycle, but it actually goes pretty quick. I would say if we think about SMB being in the kind of days to low number of weeks, commercial is in the weeks type of a cycle to get from initial engagement, introduction, all the way through potential opportunities and closing. And then the enterprise is just like the enterprise is. Sometimes it can take weeks to months to go from engagement to opportunity to close. But we feel great about kind of how we've engaged in all of that. And I think what you'll see is with the leveraging our inside sales organization, both on the Xerox print side, as well as the Xerox IT Solutions side, leveraging some of the demand gen capabilities that we've built through that, as well as through our CRM platform, you will see us continue to get much more programmatic about that and accelerate that side of the house. And we are beyond excited about what we think we can do as we exit 2025 and go into 26 and beyond.
Yeah, it's interesting to understand more about that, because I think with Xerox, it has a very strong and loyal channel community and channel partner ecosystem. And many of them are quite advanced and already offering some form of IT services capabilities. And I guess now having Xerox IT Solutions provides them with even more expertise that they can access. Are you packaging the Xerox IT Solutions capabilities for channel partners? I think you mentioned earlier you're looking at how to scale those from enterprise to SMBs. Is that the plan, to have some sort of packaged offerings that your MPS partners, perhaps who aren't as advanced or mature in terms of IT services capabilities, can take a kind of IT services stream and deliver that in a packaged way to its customers?
So, Louella, that's exactly what we're doing. And we've started with an initial pilot where we have one of our solution offerings that we are going through to the pilot community, and we'll just continue to build on top of that. But that's exactly the goal, is for us to take our Xerox IT Solutions services, our capabilities, some of our go-to-market, package that up for our print channel partners to be able to utilize, and then to go sell, and create it in a way in which they can sell it themselves and deliver it themselves, or sell it themselves and we'll deliver it on their behalf, but really giving them all the flexibility that they could want or need, so that they can be the point of engagement for their clients, and they can make sure that they're creating that extra value, while at the same time building a secondary business model and a secondary business that helps them continue to grow and be more profitable.
Yeah, because for channel partners as well as for Xerox and any provider in this space, it's all about diversification to capture new revenue opportunities. And I think it's very important for the channel, who are, some channel partners, like I say, are ahead of the curve already, but there's still a lot of channel partners that need support from their vendor partners to deliver these new services. So it's great to hear that Xerox is really supporting that with these capabilities and offerings going forward. So finally, what's next for Xerox IT Solutions? I know you touched on some of the plans for next year, but anything specific that you wanted to share that you've got in the pipeline for 2026?
Yeah, and so as you saw a couple of weeks ago, we launched our Cyber Solutions offering, which we're extremely excited about. This is where the power of Xerox, our brand, with the capabilities that the IT Solutions organization brings to bear, starts to create massive value for our clients, especially in that SMB and commercial space. So we have brought Palo Alto Networks and their Cortex XDR platform, along with Lumify, that provides 24/7 security operations center capabilities. And then we've partnered with Aon and the Hartford so that they can work with our clients to provide them cyber risk capabilities. And we're super excited about the value that we can bring, because this is enterprise level capabilities that historically our SMB clients didn't have the ability to afford. But because of who we are, our brand, our scale, our ability to build these validated solutions, we are able to give them that solution and help them significantly increase their security posture from a threat detection perspective, as well as a threat remediation perspective. And then to be able to go have the conversations with Aon and the Hartford to determine how they can help support them with the right cyber risk management capabilities that are required. These are things our SMBs have struggled with. We've heard this from our clients, from analysts in the industry, and we are beyond thrilled that we can now bring this solution called Xerox TriShield 360 to all of our SMB clients. This is a big kind of go-to-market for us. We've spent the last few months with all of these partners to bring something that we think is extremely unique in the industry. This is something that, again, we've talked to a few analysts and our clients. The ability to get Palo Alto Networks is the largest.
I was going to say, when you said that, I thought that's impressive, because they're like a powerhouse, aren't they, in cybersecurity? So that's a great partnership.
It really is something that, when we talk to SMBs, that the question, like when we say, hey, what are you doing, or what would you like to do? And they all want to do more, but they can't afford it. And so oftentimes they just roll the dice, right? They'll use consumer class antivirus and they'll think that's enough. And it's not. And so you have something that sits at the endpoint that is not going to protect them. They don't have 24/7 coverage. So when something goes on at 3 a.m., like, it's unprotected for hours.
That's brilliant, because I think, like you say, the SMBs, they're not any more immune to these cyber attacks and cyber risks than large enterprises. And actually, if a vulnerability is exposed in an SMB, it can have devastating consequences, and it could potentially close a business because they don't have the right remediation in place and threat detection. So I think that's something that's long overdue in this sector to make that accessible for SMBs. And we see this a bit in the print sector as well. Print is often the forgotten or overlooked endpoint. And, I think having security assessments across the IT environment, which includes print and IT, is something that Xerox could potentially move into and provide a very sort of trusted offering for those type of customers. So, yeah, we'll be watching that with interest, and be great to have an update a few months down the line to see, what kind of response you've had from clients. So, thanks again so much for joining me today. It's great to have an update. And thank you also for sharing your sort of predictions on what's going to be happening in 2026. So, really appreciate you taking the time to join me today.
Awesome. Thank you again for having me, and I look forward to connecting again soon.
So thank you for joining today's episode of In the Spotlight with Quocirca. For more information, please visit quocirca.com and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks again for joining, and I look forward to seeing you in our next episode.